Hello and welcome back to Spekd, and today we have Warhammer Conquest issue number 52. Yes. Okay, now look, let's be honest, we already know we're only getting Astrogranite here. It's the content inside the magazine that has to have the value. So let's get it open up and let's have a look. Oh, getting the opening down. That's done. Okay, Astrogranite. We know the deal, we know what this is about, we know that we use a stick or some other alternate thing like a dodgy brush, which is no good. You can also see it's separated here, so I'm gonna have to give that a good shake. Checking the date there. Not long, but this looks like it's separating. A good shake will sort that out. But again, do not use your brush on this. Again, I swear down. Anyway, so we have a Lord of Contagion on the cover. These guys are awesome when you combine them with the separating plate. They're friggin' annoying, and I love walking across the field. Although I will honestly say that the Plague Burst Crawler is probably my favourite unit from the Death Guard set, but you know, that might change when I get my hands on the Mortarion. Okay, let's have a look. The Death Guard laws, we're getting more information. Have a look at and focus on painting bases. You guys know that I like painting bases with stories. We've got stratagems, we've got extra few because before we only had so little. We're getting a lot of lore in this issue, and that's brilliant, and I'm really liking that. Man, look at all that. Alright, let's not go too hard there. We've got shading and we've got battles. It looks like we've got lots of rules, instructions, and we've got a mission. Oh, look at that. That is beautiful. This is another piece. Look, this is like another one of those pieces of artwork that we saw. I think it was with the biologist Putrefier, where they have low colors but high saturation, so they don't have like many variations. And the work just comes through. I mean, that is just crazy. That's just beautiful. Flower Corruption, Death Guard unit, dark, full of fly scenery. You know that this is the last thing you're gonna see before you become a Poxwalker. And you know you're gonna have to be happy about it. Okay, Mantles of Corruption. So we look, we're having a quick look, we're getting a bit of information, about Death Guard champions and the process there. So that's just, sorry, the artwork just caught me, as always. So Lords of Contagion. So we see those are the real favoured people of Nurgle. Have a look at them in battle. And I've got a really easy painting technique for this guy that makes him really easy to paint, and I'll share that with you. Alright. Tactical squads, so we're getting the Space Marines info here. So the tacticals, how do I put this? Tacticals do exist, but Mini Marines versus Primaris tacticals, there's a to and fro there. So we see how the lore goes, but I think we're moving towards Primaris fully. Standard weapons here, but this will change because you've got like the heavy weapons info and special weapons. This might become a thing for Primaris, but if you've been playing Warhammer, you know from before, the Mini Marines or the standard Space Marines have all these special options. Once every 10 you can select, and then you know your sergeant can select other items, and that was always really good because you can have like a 10-man squad, split them into 2 5s, and then you got special weapon, sergeant weapon, and heavy weapon, and you would have so much fun dropping the drop pod, just flaming out the backfield. But you know, I think we are going to see Primaris with specialist weapons coming soon. I don't think you could go much further with Primaris without doing that, but you have to weigh them up against Hellblasters. Hellblasters. Alright, I'll stop. But you got to consider, Hellblasters are so useful and so potent on the battlefield. How can you not have one next to a chapter ancient? Okay, so we're getting some information, and that looks like the picture from Space Marine computer game, and that was a brilliant game. And if you've not played that, and there's one game you want to play to really get into it, that would be the one. So Iron Hands. Ooh, where do we go from here? So Iron Hands Primarch, Ferrus Manus, is no longer with them. Let's just say they had a conflict with Fulgrim, and things happened. Things got heated. No more spoiling. These guys believe in, you know, man and machine power extreme. If you remember, like the Centurions, it's like those guys. And I would say they're almost like a combination of where the AdMech would be if they decided to become Space Marines, because they will replace all their flesh, and that's what they're about. So very much like the Imperial Fists, it's kind of those kind of guys, you know, staunch defenders and, you know, kick butt and chew gum. Not so much my favorites, but I do like the idea that you can change out bits for bionics, and you could even play around with like a Necron arm or something, or a Necron leg, if you get used to cutting, especially with clippers, and you can put that on. That would be pretty cool. And we've got some characters here from Deathwatch, which I'm actually quite surprised to see. Deathwatch, they're the Hush Hush, they're the Men in Black, or the X-Files Keepers of the Galaxy. So there's a lot of things that go on that these guys are keep quiet, and if you know about it, they'll kill you too. So to see them here is actually quite impressive. But Deathwatch are like a collection of the best, all brought together from the different chapters, and they're respected and honoured, and they work together. Now, when Rabute Guilliman returned, he had the Primaris work together, even though they were from different chapters, or the homeworlds were from different chapters. We made sure they worked together, and then to send them back. So they were used to working as brothers to prevent that corruption, that fall. If that will work out in future, we won't know. But I know that the Chaos Space Marines will get bigger. They have to. Even from a point of view of models and selling, they're going to have to make them bigger, and they've already had size creep anyway. Blackstone Fortress Chaos models are a lot bigger than the old previous ones. You could say it's down to warp or energy or what have you. I think I've already said that before, but you know, I'm really looking for how they're going to bring Primaris to either Chaos side, or have Chaos infuse the Space Marines in a way that matches Primaris. Because I think there needs to be like a parity between the two. Or maybe that's the divergence, you know, that's where they are. I mean, these guys are like 10,000 years old, and these guys are like, you know, 200 years old. So that could be a thing. Sorry, it's going on here, just ideas and thoughts. But look, Land Raiders. So Land Raiders, as I may mention before, are one of those things that people return to for the battlefield, and we know about that, but they can also become corrupted. They're machine spirits, they're controlling minds, so to speak. You can see there's some nice work. There's my favourite plague tank there. Alright, so more Blood Angels information to the expansion. Yeah. We have history and lore there. I've already read through this, but that's really handy. And we have bases. So with this Astrogranite texture, I have been using these different techniques just on the off chance of giving it a go. And when you actually add different washes to it, it does have these different effects. So it's something to consider, and that's just by adding different washes and then shading them over. First of all, I thought, well, you know, it's just grey and it's basic, but when you add these different dry brushes and washes, it does work well. I've got to give Jack his jacket. I would also suggest kind of colouring the base before putting the model on, you know, putting the work in. Otherwise it does kind of come across a bit odd. But when it comes to the dry brushing, you could dry brush the base of the model's feet to make it look like it's been traveling for a while, and that does look good. Okay, so we've got stratagems there. So we're coming up to the way of the codex, and I wonder if these guys ever will have the stratagems from the new Space Marine books. I doubt it. I think it is a bit late. But we're getting the new stratagems. Actually, come to think of it, if you had collecting just a magazine and you've been humming and hawing about getting a codex, I suppose now getting the second codex and the index for your particular chapter would work out really well. Interesting. Okay, stratagems and how to use them, the examples and the effects. Death Guard stratagems, always more of interest to me. The Dead Walk again, yes. So that's basically you get back Pox Walker each time an infantry model, so friend or foe, dies, you get to replace one. And we've played that in the game beforehand. Chaos Familiars, Cloud of Flies is really handy as well. It's really good. Okay, so they show you their examples of how to use them, and then we're on to mission. We've got all of these models now. So let's have a look. We have a mission here, deployment zone, Death Guard zone. So we've got the containers put on there. We've got a little movement preventative bits, I call them, to scatter field terrain. So we've got 7 Plague Marines, 12 Pox Walkers, 10 Chaos Cultists, Plague Burst Crawler and Lord of Contagion. So we're getting our rerolls there. Versus Intercessors, Hellblasters, Reavers, Primaris Captain and Redemptor Dreadnought. Yeah, okay. Death Guard, just focus down on Redemptor Dreadnought, whether you Plague Burst and what have you, and then deal with the rest. And then that victory is yours. Unless, with the Reavers, you sneak into that Plague Burst Crawler and tag it, which means get it in melee combat and you can shut it down. Okay, let's have a look. So, victory conditions. Hold the objective at the end of the game, 5 turns. Let's have a look. Well, cut down the numbers if you're the Space Marines, so take out the Pox Walkers and Cultists, just so you can start getting hold of the objective, so you can have more models at the end. Otherwise, you're not going to win on models. Interesting. That should be fun to play out. Okay, let's have a look. We haven't got anything to display, so no worries. We've got the Biker running up next, and Typhus. So other than that, that's it. Well, I've enjoyed my time. I hope you've enjoyed yours. This has been Spekd. I'm leaving you again. PC